Hi everyone, and welcome to my Sims 4 video. My name is Mad Catter, and we'll be going ahead and creating a medieval build today. Today we're also going to go ahead and start working on kind of a mini-series for a series I hope to start posting because I'm going to be doing the Sims 4 Ultimate Decades Challenge. Of course that starts with medieval, so I'm doing a ton of medieval builds, which is what the mini-series is going to be. I'm going to be showing you guys some of the process of me making some of the medieval builds, not all of them. During this challenge, I'm going to be mostly focusing on Kosmic Hippie's rules for the Ultimate Decade Challenge. If you haven't seen that, then it will be linked below her challenge website page. And we today are just kind of going off of some photos that I looked up online of the Sims 4, sorry, not the Sims 4, but of the medieval aspect. I've looked at a lot of different houses, started coming up with some ideas, and slowly started working that into my Sims 4 creation. So right now we're just starting with something that I did see a lot. It's a little bit more German inspired, and probably a little later than what the originally starting point of the medieval challenge is, I think, but I think that's okay. I was having a lot of fun with this, and it's probably one of the only houses that's going to look like this, so, but I did have a lot of fun trying to figure out the roof here, because I really had a specific idea in mind from one of the photos I saw where the chimney was coming straight out of the top of the roof. And so you see me here going through a bunch of different types of chimneys, basically. The chimneys are very much hard to do in The Sims with the style. Eventually I did go into Bug and found a better suited chimney for this, but I did leave the chimney under so still have the smoke coming out of it in live mode. I did playtest some of this, and the idea is for it to be a peasant's home, so like later on in the video I will be separating it into basically an apartment building in The Sims 4, going off of the rental pack. But you can download it just as a house. I have both the shell and the decorated version on the gallery available for you guys to see. So as I was going about doing the house, I actually ended up starting to have a little bit of trouble trying to figure out the windows, mostly because obviously The Sims 4 does not necessarily have very many medieval things in it. So I went a lot with Windenburg, and actually a lot of the Life and Death pack worked a lot into this as well. I don't think you'll get the same vibe if you don't have those two packs, if you do want to download this later on. Now, as I was going through, I also started trying to slowly make it start looking even more medieval by starting to add props, lights, different things. I did try to keep it off the grid as well, but as you can see, eventually it just ends up getting to the point that I start going into Bug and just looking for anything to make it look medieval. So around here is whenever I started going ahead and going in and adding different rooms. So my main idea was that this was going to be divided more so into different apartments, like I stated before from the 4 rent pack, and that they would just have a shared kitchen. So that was kind of me doing that back then. Now I actually switched gears. I think I switched to a different day at this point, and whenever I came back to it, I was like, okay, I need to start working the outside and get the outside finished so I can post the shell first. So I did go ahead and go back outside, and I started working on just the farming areas that they would need as peasants, and I also just made sure to go through, added like a lake, a pond. That'd be crazy. But I added a pond, and then I also added just some terrain paint and different things. I was just really trying my best to make it seem like this was a farm during the Middle Ages. So as you can see here, I also decided to go ahead and add chicken coops under cover. I don't know why, I thought that was just a nice thing to add on to it. Mostly because whenever I am going through and looking back at it, I just thought that whenever there's chickens, it'd be nice if they had some cover, you know? Anyways, because of that, I started adding the fencing around that and just going through and really trying my best to make it look a little bit deteriorated almost. I think I managed to achieve that for the most part, but this is also whenever I really start going into Bite-A-Bug, by the way. Because I'm trying so hard to start making it look deteriorated, have vines crawling around everywhere, have all these different decorations to make it just feel a little bit darker almost, or even just like you're in an area that has been around for a while but is definitely for people that cannot afford to maintain it necessarily. So the lake was actually one of my more favorite areas to decorate and to add to. I really got into it, as you can see with all the lilies. I did add a fishing post sign, however, I completely forgot to add the one that is under Bite-A-Bug, so it is not spawned fish. You will have to catch the fish and put them in the pond, unfortunately. But during that, I also discovered the one for fireflies, and I was so excited I started placing it everywhere, so ideally you should see them at night quite often. But this is whenever I started actually getting into biomode objects and start placing down like a well and just an outhouse and the little birds and the rabbits and just anything that I felt would be very common to see within this time frame. I did add the woodworking table, even though that's not medieval. That is mostly just so that your Sims can get up handiness, so. So at this point I started going ahead and doing the interior. As you can see, I started adding the walls and I made sure the floors all made sense. Then I went in and started adding in some of the furniture. As I was adding in the furniture, I actually did end up adding some CC content, more so because I'm making this for my Let's Play, so I have a lot of CC and mods added for that. I will link any of the CC that you see here down below. As I was going through and decorating each of the rooms, I started getting really into the storytelling aspect of the build. So you can see me add like a crib in this room and add some knitting things in this room. I also just added some hay around on the floor, on the hay bales. I don't know, it's farming and it just looked right to have a bunch of hay on the floor to try to soften it for them. The story for these peasants is that the baby that they have, they're a brand new couple, they have a baby, and they're just trying to get by. I also found that sundial, which I thought was kind of perfect, by the way. But yeah, you can see me kind of zoom around because I find things as I'm going through them, like, oh, that'd be perfect for actually over here. Let me add that somewhere else. And then this was me trying to cover up the blocks that I added on the outside in order to make it a little bit less obvious. Because on the outside I went ahead and added in that thing I found in Bite-A-Bug that I think is like the end of a wall, and as I was going over it I was kind of like, oh, that's just peeking through the room, so let's go ahead and fix that. So we are now moving on from the couple that is young and just had a baby to a peasant farmer boy that does not have his parents. He lost his parents, he's an orphan, and he's a teenager that's just trying to get by, and he adopted a dog that he found that's a mutt. So I just thought that was a very fun way to go about decorating this room, including the idea of like, if a dog's in here, there might be a little bit more hay over here for the dog, and I don't know, it was a good time. We are now coming on to the kitchen space, which I really wanted to be kind of more like a cafeteria or a great hall almost, where like they all come together, they sit, they eat, they share a meal, because it's going to be just one kitchen for all of the peasants. So I made sure there was enough chairs, made sure to add a dog bowl, made sure to at the cooking utensils, and I tried really hard to make this room look decrepit, but it was also meant to be a little bit more warm as they were eating and enjoying their meals, so I hope that I managed to get that to come across. I also went ahead and searched up some CC for fridges, because I know that there technically would have been a cellar, but like I completely forgot to make a cellar, so I was just trying to find a fridge that could replace the fridge that was really breaking the aesthetic here, so I have that link down below as well. Here we are getting into the third family here. Now they have an adopted daughter and they themselves cannot conceive children. The adopted daughter isn't necessarily adopted so much as they kind of just found her at the church as a baby and decided to take her in. They obviously don't know what her origins are or where she's from, and she also herself does not know where she's from because she was found as a baby. For all she knows, she's with her biological parents, I believe. Like, I didn't really go too much into that, but maybe during the series we'll see exactly where she came from. For this room, I decided to go with an older gentleman that knows how to read and write, and has a bit of a secret past that no one really knows anything about. He doesn't have a wife, doesn't have any children, just kind of a farmer that exists, and, you know, sometimes can do things that no one can really understand, so... So for the rest of this, I am just going ahead and doing some finishing touches, but other than that, I think it's about time we go ahead and jump into live mode and see the finished product. Welcome to the Farmer's Hall. So as you can see, there is a bit of CC going on here. This is from the Foragers mod, and I will have all the mods and CC linked down below. And over here we can see the farm area that makes it the Farmer's Hall. Now, that being said, I realize it's a relatively small field for what would be a Farmer's Hall, but I was trying not to kill you if you tried to have your Sims play with this. And so over here we also have the animals. So we have the chickens and we have the cow and the llama, or the cows or the llamas, whatever you prefer to do for your own play. And then over here we have the outhouse. Now this shower and this here is CC. Again, link down below, same with the well. But the clothing line is around the side here. Have a bit more than enough lines for, should hopefully have more than enough lines for everyone at different times. Alright, so let's go into tab view here and kind of see what this looks like. So whenever you're coming up to it, as you can tell, I had a lot of inspiration from the more German build style. And we head into here and into the first bedroom. Now in the first bedroom, we have a lovely crib here for the baby, and we have just a young couple's space that they're trying to get by. I even have a little chamber pot for the baby to learn how to go to the restroom. Over here, we have the single room for the teenager and his pet, his lovely puppy. And he has a little forager's basket on the floor here, again from the foraging mod, I believe. And the hallway, as you can see, looks pretty dank and dark. Sorry about the ceilings. Completely forgot that they were a thing that needed to be done. One thing that's consistent in my builds is usually that I forget to do the ceilings, honestly. But anyways, we head through here, and this is the little farmer's hall gathering area, little kitchen space where they can all eat together. That is the fridge that I found and downloaded. I don't think I actually had that in the original replay of the video. Yeah, and then we head over this way, and it's pretty empty. I mean, not too much that I think that peasants would have filling the hallways here. And then we have the old gentleman's room. He has lovely fire pit, and he can write and read, as I mentioned. This is a version of a computer. This book, these pages and quill right here in the center. So again, we'll link it down below. And then over here we have the room with the child and the parents. Again, I kind of felt as though I wanted this room to look more homey than some of the other rooms because they have the child around. She's a little bit older, and I feel like the mother was a little bit more clean, wants to keep it a little bit cleaner looking. So yeah. And with that, we have the farmer's hall. Now in live mode, there should still be smoke coming out of that chimney as well. And if we head into the gallery, my name is Dreamer Blah in the gallery. Don't ask me why. I was a strange kid whenever I first made this account. So anyways, this is the farmer's hall here. It does not have any of the CC in it, and I did not put hashtags, so you will just have to look up Farmer's Hall in the gallery or look up my player profile to find it. But it is located on 2 Old Mill Lane, I believe. Yeah, I didn't even put that in there. But it's located in 2 Old Mill Lane in the countryside of Hinford-on-Bagley. And it is empty. It is the shell, because I didn't want to put any of the modded or CC stuff on the gallery. I wanted you to be able to download it and decorate it as you would prefer. So, alright. In any case, that is the build, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you did enjoy it, and hit that notification bell to keep updated for this series that's coming up. My name is Mad Catter, and I hope that you guys have a great day wherever you are in the world. Oh no.